I want to repeat that. The trinity of nature is the lock of magic. The trinity of man, the key that fits it. Within the solemn precincts of the sanctuary, the Supreme had and has no name. It is unthinkable and unpronounceable, and yet every man finds in himself his God. To become a neophyte, one must be ready to devote himself, heart and soul, to the study of mystic sciences. Magic, most imperative of mistresses, brooks no rival. Unlike other sciences, a theoretical knowledge of formulae without mental capacities or soul powers is utterly useless in magic. The spirit must hold in complete subjection the combativeness of what is loosely termed educated reason, until facts have vanquished cold human sophistry. Those best prepared to appreciate occultism are the spiritualists, although through prejudice until now they have been the bitterest opponents to its introduction to public notice. Despite all foolish negations and denunciations, their phenomena are real, despite also their assertions that are wholly misunderstood by themselves. The totally insufficient theory of the constant agency of disembodied human spirits in their production has been the bane of the cause. 1,000 mortifying rebuffs have failed to open their reason or intuition to the truth. Ignoring the teachings of the past, they have discovered no substitute. We offer them philosophical deduction instead of unverifiable hypothesis, scientific analysis and demonstration instead of indiscriminating faith. Occult philosophy gives them the means of meeting the reasonable requirements of science and frees them from the humiliating necessity to accept the oracular teachings of intelligences, which as a rule have less intelligence than a child at school. So based and so strengthened, modern phenomena would be in a position to command the attention and enforce the respect of those who carry with them public opinion. Without invoking such help, spiritualism must continue to vegetate, equally repulsed, not without cause, both by scientists and theologians. In its modern aspect, it is neither a science, a religion, nor a philosophy. And yet, there are many thoughtful, scholarly, earnest writers among the spiritualists scattered the world over. There are men who, in addition to scientific mental training and a reasoned faith in the phenomena per se, possess all the requisites of leaders of the movement. How is it then that, except throwing off an isolated volume or so, or occasional contributions to journalism, they all refrain from taking any active part in the formation of a system of philosophy? This is from no lack of moral courage, as their writings well show, nor because of indifference, for enthusiasm abounds, and they are sure of their facts. Nor is it from lack of capacity, because many are men of mark, the peers of our best minds. It is simply for the reason that, almost without exception, they are bewildered by the contradictions they encounter, and wait for their tentative hypotheses to be verified by further experience. Doubtless, this is the part of wisdom. It is that adopted by Newton, who, with the heroism of an honest, unselfish heart, withheld for 17 years the promulgation of his theory of gravitation, only because he had not verified it to his own satisfaction. Spiritualism, whose aspect is rather that of aggression than of defense, has tended toward iconoclasm, and so far has done well, but in pulling down it does not rebuild. Every really substantial truth it erects is soon buried under an avalanche of chimeras until all are in one confused ruin. At every step of advance at the acquisition of every new vantage ground of fact, some cataclysm, either in the shape of fraud and exposure or of premeditated treachery, occurs and throws the spiritualists back powerless because they cannot, and their invisible friends will not, or perchance can, less than themselves, make good their claims. Their fatal weakness is that they have but one theory to offer an explanation of their challenged facts: the agency of human disembodied spirits and the medium's complete subjection to them. They will attack those who differ in views with them with a vehemence only warranted by a better cause. They will regard every argument contradicting their theory as an imputation upon their common sense and powers of observation, and, they will positively refuse even to argue the question. The enemies of truth have all been counted and all passed in review. Modern science, powerless to satisfy the aspirations of the race, makes the future a void and bereaves man of hope. In one sense, it is like the Baital Pakizi, the Hindu vampire of popular fancy, which lives in dead bodies and feeds but on the rottenness of matter. The theology of Christendom has been rubbed threadbare by the most serious minds of the day. It is found to be on the whole subversive rather than promotive of spirituality and good morals. Instead of expounding the rules of divine law and justice, it teaches but itself. In place of an ever-living deity, it preaches the evil one and makes him indistinguishable from God himself. Lead us not into temptation, is the aspiration of Christians. Who, then, is the tempter? Satan? No, the prayer is not addressed to him. It is that tutelar genius who hardened the heart of Pharaoh, put an evil spirit into Saul, sent lying messengers to the prophets, and tempted David to sin. It is the Bible God of Israel. Our examination of the multitudinous religious faiths that mankind early and late have professed most assuredly indicates that they have all been derived from one primitive source. It would seem as if they were all but different modes of expressing the yearning of the imprisoned human soul for intercourse with supernal spheres. As the white ray of light is decomposed by the prism into the various colors of the solar spectrum, so the beam of divine truth, in passing through the three-sided prism of man's nature, has been broken up into varicolored fragments called religions. And as the rays of the spectrum by imperceptible shadings merge into each other, so the great theologies that have appeared at different degrees of divergence from the original source have been connected by minor schisms, schools, and offshoots from the one side or the other. Combined, their aggregate represents one eternal truth. Separate, they are but shades of human error and the signs of imperfection. The worship of the Vedic Pitris is fast becoming the worship of the spiritual portion of mankind. It but needs the right perception of things objective to finally discover that the only world of reality is the subjective. What has been contemptuously termed paganism was ancient wisdom, replete with deity, and Judaism and its offspring, Christianity and Islamism, derived whatever of inspiration they contained from this ethnic parent. Pre-Vedic Brahmanism and Buddhism are the double source from which all religions sprung. Nirvana is the ocean to which all tend. For the purposes of philosophical analysis, we need not take account of the enormities which have blackened the record of many of the world's religions. True faith is the embodiment of divine charity. Those who minister at its altars are but human. As we turn the blood-stained pages of ecclesiastical history, we find that whoever may have been the hero and whatever costumes the actors may have worn, the plot of the tragedy has ever been the same. But the eternal night was in and behind all, and we pass from what we see to that which is invisible to the eye of sense. Our fervent wish has been to show true souls how they may lift aside the curtain, and in the brightness of that night made day, look with undazzled gaze upon the unveiled truth.